Hello. Yesterday, I had some coffee. What's so amazing about that, I hear you say? Well, I don't usually drink coffee. I can't remember the last time I had any, but I woke up with a feeling that I really wanted a cup of coffee. So, thinking that some of the other people in my house would like coffee as well, I made a great big cafetiere. Well, it turned out that nobody else in the house wanted coffee except me. And because I hate waste of any sort, I thought, well, I might as well drink all of this myself. And I enjoyed it. 3 large mugs of coffee. And I enjoyed it for about 10 minutes. And then I started to feel really weird. And it felt like my eyes were open too wide. And it felt as if I was drunk or something. And my heart was going too fast. And my breathing was too fast. And before too long, I started to feel nauseous. I had an upset stomach as well. And I continued to feel like this for about 2 hours until it faded. And for 2 hours, I was completely useless and just had to sit on the sofa and do not very much. And I wondered why people drank coffee. Well, I know why people drink coffee, because they like the taste and perhaps they like the stimulus. But I don't drink coffee, and I very rarely drink tea with caffeine in, and I rarely eat chocolate. And so I don't have those stimuli on a regular basis. And when I do, well, it does strange things to me. And as I sat on the sofa and thought about what was happening to my body, I thought, I never want to get used to this. I have plenty of friends who drink coffee and drink several cups of coffee in a day, some of them quite a lot of coffee. But the more they have, they probably don't have that feeling that I had, because their body has become used to the stimulus of coffee or caffeine. And I wondered, what other things has my body, has my mind, has my spirit grown used to that I'm no longer aware of? I live in a city, so I'm used to seeing street sleepers without any emotional response. I'm used to the idea that lots of children and families live in poverty. I'm used to the idea that when people lose their jobs or businesses fail and they can't pay their mortgage, there is no help for them until they and their families are without a home. I'm used to the idea that when people need to move on to benefits, they have to wait 5 or 6 weeks before any money comes in. And I don't want to be used to those ideas. During this time of enforced rest, or Sabbath, which is a biblical idea, on the 7th day after creation, God rested. And this was enfolded into the Jewish tradition that for 1 day a week, 1/7 of the week, humankind should rest. And that doesn't mean just take enough time to recharge your batteries to go back into the business of life, but to stop and focus on other things, to focus on God and His ways. So during this enforced Sabbath, I've been thinking about all those things that I am so used to that I don't even notice. We've spoken about Paul the Apostle before. Paul had a miraculous encounter with Jesus in the form of a vision, and that changed his life completely. And because of that, he also spent time thinking about how his life should be in the future. We've just celebrated Easter once again this year. We've focused on how Jesus' life and death and resurrection changes everything. When Paul thought about those things, he started writing things down, and he sent his letters to churches. He wrote a letter to the church in Philippi about breaking with the past, about recognizing those things that we are blind to in our everyday life, the things that we take for granted. And Paul said he never wanted to be the same again. He said, I regard everything as loss because of the surpassing value of knowing Jesus Christ, my Lord. For his sake, I have suffered the loss of all things. We haven't suffered the loss of all things, but perhaps we feel we've suffered the loss of our liberty, of our leisure time, of our close family and friendship, of our relationships. And I regard them as rubbish, says Paul, in order that I may gain Christ and be found in him, not having a righteousness of my own that comes from the law, but one that comes through faith in Christ. What are those things that I take for granted, that I accept as normal and usual and just part of life? I never want to be blind to them again. I never want to accept them and feel that they are normal. Perhaps during this Sabbath rest, I will have a chance to identify what really is important to God and therefore to me as his child, and ensure that I am never blind to them again. And my prayer for you is that God opens your eyes. Thank you to all of you who are spending time with him. Thank you for those of you who are providing resources for others. Thank you to those of you who are ringing family and friends and building community once again. Thank you. And may God bless you and keep you. May he open your eyes and shine his light into your hearts and your lives, that you are never again blind to the injustices of this world. Keep safe.